Hi, in this video we will read about the antenatal diagnosis of neural tube defects. The combination of the following tests determines the, on the amniotic fluid where indicated greatly improves the ability to make the prenatal diagnosis of the neural tube defects. So let's start with first the non-invasive ones and then we will move ahead. So in the non-invasive one, first we will read about the maternal serum alpha fetoprotein. After that, we will read about the ultrasound one and then the fetal MRI. In the non invasive one, we have only three. So, let's start with this maternal serum alpha fetoprotein. So, maternal serum alpha fetoprotein screening is most accurate when performed between 16 to 18 weeks. Okay, when is it most accurate? When performed between 16 to 18 weeks of gestation, but the testing can be performed between overall it is most accurate between these two, but overall it can be performed between 15 and 22 weeks. Maternal serum alpha fetoprotein measurement of 2.5 multiples of the median in the second trimester 16 to 18 weeks have a sensitivity of 80 to 90% for myelomeningocele. Fine. If it is 2.5 times of the multiples of median, then it has a sensitivity of what? Also in these weeks, have a sensitivity of 80 to 90% for the myelomeningocele. Common causes of the fetal false positive and false negative maternal serum alpha fetoprotein levels are: false positive can be present if the gestational age is inaccurate, if there are multiple gestation. Race: black patients have a higher levels than the white patients. Underweight patients less than 90 pounds, and spontaneous fetal to maternal bleeding. All these cases can have false positive levels. False negative levels: inaccurate gestational dating, patient has less advanced gestation than estimated, maternal insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, and obesity. Now, the second non invasive modality for antenatal diagnosis of neural tube defect is ultrasound. So, in ultrasound, in almost all the cases of the neural tube defects, and Arnold-Chiari malformations can be identified, defined as the displacement of the cerebellar vulvis, fourth ventricle, and medulla through the foramen magnum. Fine. And the term banana sign describes the elongated as opposed to the dumbbell shape of the cerebellum. We normally do, right? The shape of the cerebellum is something like this, right? So it was something similar to the dumbbell shape. Oh, it's not like this. It's something like this, in fact, right? I draw thyroid previously. The term banana sign describes the elongated shape of the cerebellum as opposed to the dumbbell shape, but due to the herniation of the cerebellum downwards, we see a banana sign. That is downwards, that means in the foramen magnum. And the lemon sign, it describes the in utero frontal bossing as frontal bones become concave shape. So the timing of this is first study transvaginally at 12 to 24 weeks of the gestation, and the second examination transabdominally at 18 to 20 weeks of gestation. If one ultrasound examination is planned, the optimal timing is 18 to 20 weeks of gestation. Okay, to detect this neural tube defects, fine. First study should be transvaginally at 12 to 14 weeks of gestation. Second study would be transabdominally at 18 to 20 weeks of gestation. So this was about ultrasound to detect how it helps in detecting the neural tube defect antenatally. Now the third modality is fetal MRI. MRIs are usually conducted between the late second and the early third trimesters between the 23 to 32 weeks of gestation. The gestational age allows for the optimal imaging of the entire fetal brain and the subarachnoid space. Now coming to the invasive techniques. Invasive tests are not routinely recommended as they are not cost effective. They are indicated when either the ultrasound findings are uncertain or show an apparently normal fetus after a screening positive with the maternal serum alpha fetoprotein. So invasive tests and their timings. Invasive tests we have are the four. amniocentesis, chorionic villus sampling, chordosynthesis, and the fetoscopy. Amniocentesis, sample is taken out at around 15 to 17 weeks. Chorionic sampling is done at around 11 to 14 weeks. So chorionic sampling is the first test that can be done. Photosynthesis is done at around 16 to 20 weeks. Sample obtained through the invasive test is subjected for testing of fetal karyotype and if indicated and available a chromosomal microarray. Fine. So the sample that is obtained through all these, it can be sent for fetal karyotyping, amniotic fluid alpha fetoprotein, and amniotic fluid acetylcholinesterase. Now this amniotic fluid alpha fetoprotein and acetylcholinesterase. If there is an amniotic fluid AFP elevation, that is alpha fetoprotein elevation, a secondary test for the presence or absence of acetylcholinesterase enzyme by the gel electrophoresis is performed. Fine, if AFP elevation is present, a secondary test is performed for presence or absence of this acetylcholinesterase enzyme. It is done by what? By gel electrophoresis. Acetylcholinesterase is not normally identified in the amniotic fluid. Fine. This acetylcholinesterase is not normally present. Tissues containing the acetylcholinesterase are red blood cells, muscles, and the neural tissue. Concentration of the acetylcholinesterase are much higher in the fetal cerebrospinal fluid than in the fetal serum. So if the fetus has an open neural tube defects, amniotic fluid, AFP, and the acetylcholinesterase are both elevated. Okay. If the fetus has an fetus has an open neural tube defect, then amniotic alpha fetoprotein and acetylcholinesterase are usually both elevated because these acetylcholinesterase are present in much higher quantity in the fetal cerebrospinal fluid. So acetylcholinesterase is a sensitive test for confirming an open neural tube defects. Fine. So we did non-invasive techniques in which we looked at the maternal serum alpha fetoprotein, ultrasound, and the fetal MRI. And in the non-invasive techniques, we took out the sample using these four methods: amniocentesis, chorionic sampling, chordosynthesis, and fetoscopy, and send them for fetal karyotype, amniotic alpha fetoprotein, and amniotic acetylcholinesterase. And if the acetylcholinesterase is present in the amniotic fluid, then it is a sensitive test for confirming an open neural tube defect. So this was all about this video. Thank you.